So one of the reasons, or maybe the only reason why you are confused about the conditional sentences is not because they are complicated. The reason is because you don't have an overview of all of them. And if you don't have an overview of all of them, you have maybe a feeling that there are dozens of them or more than dozens of them. But in fact, there are only four types of conditional sentences. And if you have an overview like this, what I put together, you will see that there are only a mere four types of them, and it is so easy to learn it because you don't need to learn all of them. You just need to learn only two type of them, which are a little bit more challenging. And the other two types, zero conditional and the first conditional, you know it already because you are using it naturally in a correct way and you can't do it wrong. And that is why the reason I highlighted them in two colors. Zero conditional and the first conditional are highlighted in blue, and the other two types are highlighted in another color. The reason why I divided them in two colors is because the zero conditional and the first conditionals are similar. The only difference between them is the time. And the second conditional and the third conditionals are also similar. And the only difference between them, the second and third, I mean, is also time. The one goes about the present time and future, and the other is going about the past tense. Okay, now let's go through all of these different type of conditionals. I'm not going to explain all of them with more details, and I'm not going to mention all the examples I've put in this overview. I led it for you purposely, and I'm quite sure and confident that if you use this overview, you are going to learn the conditional sentences in one day. And if you use it repeatedly, I am confident that you're going to master it within a week. Within a week, I am quite confident. Okay, now let's go through all of them briefly. The zero conditional. Why it's called zero? Because it's blank. There is no time involved. It's kind of general information, a scientific fact, or a habit of somebody, like a habit of me. If I am tired, I go to bed early. I'm not talking about today. I'm not talking about tomorrow or any other time. I'm talking in general about myself that if I am tired, I go to bed early. But if you use the same sentence, if you use the same sentence, and if you talk about the same situation about today, like if I am tired today, I will go to bed early, then you are talking about a specific time. You are talking, for example, to your friend, and you say to your friend, I'm not coming to play football today if I am tired, because if I am tired, I'm going to go to bed early, or I will go to bed early. In this situation, you are talking about a specific time. And if you go through all of these examples and compare them to each other, you see the difference. You notice the difference. I don't need to explain it for you. Okay, now let's move on. Now let's move on to the second conditional, which is a little bit challenging, and it requires more attention of you, but it's not that complicated. It's easy to learn. The second conditional and the third conditional is going about imaginary situations. An imaginary situation is a situation which is not going to happen because it's not possible, and you just imagine. For example, you imagine, let's take an easy example of this. For example, you imagine if you were married to Beyonce, you would be very famous too. This is an imagination because in real world, it's not going to happen, and the chance of happening is zero. The same as if you if you have enough money. If you have enough money, then you are going to do what you want to do. But if you don't have enough money, it's not possible to do what you desire. For example, the third example here. If I had 10 million, I would buy a Ferrari. Why you use the past tense here? This is the confusion Here, you're talking about a situation in present time which is not possible because you don't have enough money. And then you use the past tense. And I think in your native language, maybe you're using the same structure. When you're using, when you're talking about a situation which is not possible in present time, then you use the past tense. If I had 10 million, I would buy a Ferrari. Yeah, but you don't have 10 million, and the chance is quite, uh, yeah, the chance is very, very low. It's not zero because maybe, yeah, in real world, something is going to happen and you get that money, but the chance is slim. The chance is the chance is very, very small. And that's why you use the past tense. And the same is true for all the other examples. For example, you know, the sixth example. If I were rich, I might buy a castle, but I'm not rich. That's why I'm using the past tense of the verb to be. If I were rich, I might buy a castle. Now let's move on to the third conditional. The third conditional is the same as the second conditional, but you are talking about some imagination what you had in the past, or you are talking about something you are imagining. If it was the case in the past, then some things would have happened. And then you are using the same structure for all these sentences. You say, for example, let's take an easy example. If I had left earlier yesterday, we would have arrived on time. It means that we we didn't left earlier and we didn't arrive on time. Then you are imagining, if you had left earlier yesterday, you would have arrived on time, which is not the case, which didn't happen. And the same is true for all the other examples. I will let all these examples for you to go through, and I'm confident if you do it by yourself, you are going to master all these different type of conditional sentences by yourself. And one more thing is that there is also a mixed conditional, which is a little bit complicated and unnecessary to learn now. I will let that for another lesson, and I will ask you to focus only on the four type of conditional sentences in this overview. That is enough for today. And if you like this way of learning and teaching with overviews, please feel free to subscribe, drop a comment if you have suggestions, and if you like the videos, please do not forget to push the like button. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you in another video. God bless you, and bye.